Have you ever thought of any of these existential questions like what happened before I was born? What existed before humans? Or what came before the earth, sun, or anything ever existed? Basically, when there was nothing.
Not this one.
Just a quick disclaimer, there are several theories on how the universe was formed, and the Big Bang theory is one of them and widely accepted. Also, the earliest stages of the Big Bang theory are more theory-based and less experimentally verified. So, you're always welcome to question the facts I will be mentioning in the video.
Let's begin. Time t equal to 0 to 10 to the power minus 43 seconds was Planck's epoch. Epoch simply means an era. During this time, the temperature was 10 to the power 32 Kelvin, which is like 32 zeros after 1. That is just a bit hotter than him, or probably him. And then happened the quantum fluctuation. Basically, there was nothing, zero, right? This zero split into plus and minus. But what is this duality? You can call it borrowed energy or virtual particles. Now comes the grand unification epoch. The temperature is 10 to the power 29 Kelvin. This some form of combined or unified energy splits into two, gravitational energy and some other type of energy. Moving on to the inflationary epoch, this some other form of energy further splits into strong nuclear force and electroweak force. Now this so-called universe expands suddenly and exponentially at a speed faster than that of light. By the end of this inflationary epoch, our universe is about the size of a grain of sand. During the electroweak epoch, hot plasma containing quarks and gluons is formed. The universe is opaque and homogeneous. These particles interact to form bosons. From now on, the facts will be based less on theory and more on experimental proofs. Next is the quark epoch. The electroweak forces formed earlier further split into weak nuclear force and electromagnetic force. Now we have 4 different forms of energy which make up the present day universe. Now comes the HADRON epoch. The temperature reduces to 10 to the power 10 Kelvin. Quarks split up to form hadron-antihadron pairs. These pairs undergo a process called annihilation. Basically, they cancel each other out. But the amount of hadron is slightly more than that of the antihadron. As a result, a small residue of hadron is left behind. Now comes the lepton epoch, during which leptons also undergo annihilation just like hadrons. From 10 seconds to 370 years was the photon epoch. The temperature was hot enough to produce protons and neutrons, yet cool enough to keep them stable. These protons and neutrons fuse to form nucleus. This nucleus combines with an electron to give us a neutral atom for the very first time. This is known as nucleosynthesis. But wait, this is not the correct representation of an atom. This is. As a result, photons or simply light is released. For the first time, universe became visible, as in visible to the human eye. Hydrogen and helium were predominantly formed. A lot of other significant events also occurred. The opaque universe now became transparent. Cosmic radiations were formed and recombination took place. In recombination, gravity pulls the particles together to form clusters or gas clouds. After this began the Dark Age.
Nothing much happened during the Dark Age. Recombination still continued but at a very slow rate. The temperature slowly reduced to 60 Kelvin, which is comparable to the temperature of the present-day universe that is generally very cold.
At about 1 billion years, extremely dense clouds were formed. The gas pressure of the cloud pushed it outwards while its gravity pulled it inwards. thus maintaining an equilibrium. But for massive masses, gravitational force exceeded the gas pressure and the cloud collapsed. Now the core's temperature was so hot and the pressure so high that nuclear fusion reactions begin, providing an outward pressure which prevents further collapse. And this is how a star was born. A star is basically a giant gas cloud undergoing nuclear fusions of hydrogen and helium while releasing light and radiations, along with the formation of other heavy elements. The radiations released from the birth of one star trigger the formation of another star. Soon this becomes an area where stars take birth, and this is known as nebula. Several stars come together under the action of gravity to form a galaxy. Scientists believe that the center of a galaxy has a black hole around which all the stars revolve. Finally, gravity also brought dust particles together to form small rocks, bigger rocks, and ultimately asteroids, moons, and planets. Just like the one you are sitting on right now. The present-day universe is 13.8 billion years old and still counting. So next time if someone asks how anything and everything was created, either you can show them this video or just say, God created everything.